All right, good afternoon. We have a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. The time is now 2 minutes past 2 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the City website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Mallock.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz.
Here.
City Manager Dietrich.
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs.
Here.
We have Resolution 299-08-2026, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is for discussion on the 715 to 717 Franklin Street, Allen AME Church lease, and 1020 to 1026 Washington Street, Cape May Tennis Club lease. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mallock?
Yes.
Public portion, Mayor?
Anyone here wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move into closed session.
Time is 2:04.
Thank you.
Right here. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, it just wasn't sitting right with me. Yeah. I'll get there in 2 seconds.
State Record Call at 215-249-1981. Thank you. Gotcha. 60 County. Is the council now meeting still free? Yes. Okay. Punch it hard for opening. Meetings and being referenced to premiership and video and regular attachment part. Put Victorian Towers for right now, just gather more information. It's gonna be New Jersey Tango 7556 769 00 08382.
Of course I am. How are you? We're gonna set it up. Killing Sports is here. Does this, I'm gonna block. I don't know which reason I'm gonna really, it's only gonna be there temporary. It's like a new very rough.
to start out.
He may not want to, he may not want to soon. Figure out, make it fit.
Okay.
Look, it's one of them.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are just getting out of a closed session for which we are taking no action. Do I have a motion to close the closed session?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Do we need a roll call? Okay, with that, we will open up our regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. The time is now 3:05. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council and posted on the city website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Mallock.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz.
Here.
City Manager Dietrich.
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs.
Here.
Any additions or deletions this evening?
Anything, council? No? Okay, on to updates and old business. City Manager?
I have a few things. First is I did include a copy of the Atlantic Cape MJPPI. That's the program for public information that we do as a joint application with 15 other municipalities in Cape May and Atlantic County to publicize flood related issues, and it helps us get our discount with FEMA for our CRS rating. So that's just there, and it's just really an FYI that we did our annual update. I then also wanted to update as we're going out for some of our short-term financing, bond financing. We did get an update from Standard & Poor's, and our bond rating is AA. It's the same. We are evaluating with the CFO and our auditor and bond counsel on what things that we can do to maybe try to improve that rating as we move forward. And so CFO will be looking at having a report later this year to go over that. A couple grant awards that we got notice over the last week. I just wanted to let the council know the DOT awarded us $159,757 for local municipal aid to reconstruct Howard Street. If you recall, about last month we awarded APS a contract under the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank grant program to do some water and sewer work on Howard Street. So this is kind of how we're partnering up different grant programs to improve our infrastructure. So that will kind of do the finished paving and sidewalks on that. We were awarded also the DCA Small Cities Grant of $197,967. And we're looking at, we did not get the total amount we had asked for. So we're going to earmark it for the projects for sidewalk improvements on South Lafayette and North Street. Those are some older sidewalk streets and in poor condition, so we're going to look at improving sidewalk safety and public safety on that street. Two resolutions, number 304 and 305, both awarding professional services, are on the agenda tonight. One is for Greenman Peterson Incorporated. They're the consultants that did the a road safety plan last year. So they're going to kind of look at doing a design. That was kind of that project identified safety projects we should look at. So now we've looked at it and said, okay, this is a project that we think from a safety standpoint, and it's really looking at the pedestrian and bike route along Elmira, Venice, Bank, out to Lafayette, crossing over to go down to Decatur, down to Beach, kind of looking at that corridor of improving bike and pedestrian safety. So that's what that project will be looking at. Resolution 305 for Taylor Engineering. This is following up with the beach safety study, and this scope will be their recommended scope of working with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Coastal Engineering of figuring out what our next step, what we should be looking at to do further designs to both maintain beach nourishment from an emergency shore protection, but also maybe improving the profile to make it a little less aggressive as far as some of when it gets in an erosion state of to kind of maybe flatten it out a little bit. So that's what they're going to be looking at for that project. I did have, we did our monthly managers update, and there's just a couple key things I wanted to call out on that. From the year-over-year summary for parking, currently through July, we're up about $272,000 in parking revenue. So, I know we had a parking increase. This is about the revenue stream we were hoping to be able to realize, to kind of offset and not realize to have to increase taxes. So this is kind of, funds that we'll be putting back into our reserve and surplus to offset the increases that we did this year. If you haven't been watching social media, our beach patrol, they've been out there in their events over the summer. We have gotten a lot of first places in a lot of places in a lot of different events. Both men and women have been performing very well. So I just want to really thank Beach Patrol for really representing the city in South Jersey and the different events that they did. If you take a look at the report, and you can take a look at what they've really done. And from a public works standpoint, a couple years ago, we changed the recycling to kind of, try to reduce the recycling amount that we collect. And I just would like to report in July, we're down 14.4% from last year. That's 18 tons less collected of recycling. And we're seeing that uptick in the recycle yards. So, we're seeing people are taking advantage, and the commercial businesses are coming over using the recycling yard to dispose of the recycling. It's saving some of that manpower where we haven't been able to hire seasonals to do additional collection. And, we want to thank our businesses and residents for being very compliant with recycling. And with that, that's, I think, all I had for my update.
Thank you, City Manager. City Solicitor?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City Council, any updates or old business?
I just want to briefly shout out to Councilwoman Baldwin, her husband Pete, and Yogi Kurtz they hosted end of the summer sort of a little barbecue for the lifeguards. So just shout out to thank you on behalf of the rest of us up here for taking care of that and letting them know how much they're appreciated. So thank you, Lorraine.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Zach, if I could just
Yeah,
jump in
please.
for a moment. Jumping on what Paul had discussed about the areas, the Elmira Street, Venice Avenue, Bank Street resolution addressing those areas. I mean, that came about through the Cape Island Safe Streets and Road Action Plan. And that was an area that was identified and as a priority area needing improvement on local roads. And that priority, one of those priorities being that safe route to go through the beach from that portion of town. So I just want to mention that was something that was prioritized through that report. This is something that had been supported by the Bike and Pedestrian Committee as well. And the city manager had met with the committee a couple times, reviewed it with them. They approved it. I want to thank them for their support working on this initiative that we're going to be considering tonight, as well as the city manager did put a lot of work into this too. So appreciate that, Paul.
You're welcome.
That's great. Okay, on to presentations. Our first presentation, Chief Fashoff, if you'd like to join us up at the table, or if you'd like to, okay, you know what you're doing. And with us, if you'd like to introduce Harry
will do that.
Delgado.
First off, thank you very much for giving me the time to let us brag a little bit about ourselves and come up here and talk about what we've been doing for the last 2 years or so. My honor this afternoon is to introduce to my left Director Delgado from the New Jersey State Chiefs Association of Police, the accreditations program. When I first became chief, we talked about a couple of different programs, you and I, Zach, Mayor, about building a new police department, getting things better in line, having better standards for the police department, law enforcement, et cetera. You were very much a part of that. We've had a couple different managers in that time. We ended up with City Manager Dietrich, who understood the process of accreditation. We went to him with the idea of, it's going to cost some money to become accredited, but in the end, it's going to be better for the department, the city, our insurance policies, et cetera. So I cannot take credit for the accreditation process that took place. All I did was put the chips in line, my people from the patrol division, the detective division, everyone that was tasked with doing this process. I will end with my command staff, top notch, from my former captain, Captain John Bobick, who started and kind of liaisoned the program with us, however, handed it off to now Lieutenant Scott Christinger, who's in the crowd here, who took it, ran with it, and I never had to even question what he was doing with it because he did it correctly. He was working alongside of Captain Walker, Lieutenant Gennaro, my civilian staff, Duran Hemingway, and Nevaeh Perez. Hunter, she's getting married soon, so I always get confused. Also with City Council, you guys afforded me the opportunity, the funding to do so in speaking with Lorraine and Steve, and especially Maureen, as far as you had ran accreditation programs for the hospital, so you guys all knew how it worked. So we moved forward and did that. So without further ado, I'll shut up and let Director Delgado tell you what we did. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I'm likely to disappoint. I don't know that I can add too much to that, but anyway, excuse me. So, what the chief actually, I just want to add to that what the chief mentioned, it's exactly how this should work. It's a team effort where the council actually supports the activities of the police department, and they themselves work so hard to actually get to achieve accreditation. So, if you indulge me for 2 minutes, I'd like to share with you the significance of what they have accomplished. So the Cape May Police Department has made a commitment to adhering to best practices at the state and national level in a highly regarded statewide law enforcement accreditation program. This program, administered to the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, has helped to transparently demonstrate the professionalism, transparency, and preparedness of state law enforcement agencies in the state's public safety system. Now, accreditation to the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police is more than a professional distinction. It is a strategic investment in organizational excellence. It positions law enforcement agencies like the Cape May Police Department to operate at the highest level of professionalism while enhancing public trust, reducing risk, as was mentioned here before, and promoting long-term operational success. So they have a platform now where everyone actually is working off the same sheet of music, if you will. So this prestigious accredited status demonstrates Chief Deacon Fashaw's firm commitment to state and national standards and the continued expectations for quality, professional, and ethical policing at the Cape May Police Department. Now, accreditation provides objective evidence of an agency's commitment to excellence in leadership, resource management, and service delivery. So therefore, government officials can be more confident in the agency's ability to operate efficiently and meet community needs. And officers in accredited agencies, as I met many here today, can take pride that they have been objectively recognized for their professionalism and adherence to high standards. Now, at the end of this rigorous process, and it's very rigorous, I mean, there's over 470 items of proof that they had to provide to be in full compliance. There's a report that is generated. I had the privilege of receiving that report, reviewing it, and making a recommendation to the Accreditation Commission. I'll just purge some of what the assessment team actually said about the Cape May Police Department. Under Chief Deacon Fashaw, a high level of competence, leadership, and professionalism is evident within the agency. Where the future challenges involve recruitment and retention, a transition to a new facility, as I understand, or anticipated retirements, the Cape May Police Department will continue to move forward following best practices, a preparedness plan, and a verification of excellence. So it is indeed the opinion of the assessment team that the Cape May Police Department is a highly professional and committed agency that exemplifies all of the tenets of law enforcement accreditation at the state and national level. One thing that I will add, typically when an agency enters this process, and only 54% of those, that's another thing that I neglected to mention, so they enter into a very elite group of law enforcement agencies in the state of New Jersey, 54% out of all the agencies in the state that would be able to participate. The fact that they did it, and we didn't argue during the on-site visit over issues of proofs and what have you, meaning they have a perfect score, is truly remarkable. So they deserve recognition in addition to the accomplishment for the way they conducted the process and the outcome. So it is indeed my pleasure here today, and my honor, on behalf of the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, to congratulate Chief Decon Fashaw, Accreditation Manager Lieutenant Scott Christinger, many others that I met in the back, and what name I did not note, the members of the Cape May Police Department, the mayor, the council, and those citizens that they so proudly serve for having joined a very elite group of law enforcement agencies in the state of New Jersey that have made a firm commitment to excellence in policing. So to all, indeed, congratulations.
With all that Harry had said, Director Delgado, again, to my staff, I can sincerely appreciate all their hard work. I cannot do it without them. Everything we do to be that elite police department, to have their standards and to follow their standards, and to be a part of the New Jersey State Chiefs Association of Police, Chiefs of Police, is an honor for me to do so. And again, my honor to work for this city and the boroughs, because we are a multifaceted police department. Very much proud to be a part of that. So again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts to help us get here. Conversation with our solicitor, Chris Gillingsworth, and both City Manager Dietrich and Deputy City Manager Riggs, and the clerk's office. We do a lot of work with everybody. So again, I thank you all for that. So we're going to grab a couple pictures. Mayor, if you want to come up and, we do that. Scott, Joe, we'll just grab those and get out of your hair. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I think you all heard, we should all be very proud. That is quite an accomplishment to be in that top 54%. And I don't think anyone at this table is surprised, but it is a very rigorous, it took several years really to get through the process. So it is very rigorous, and you should be proud of our police department for that accomplishment. So thank you, Chief, and to all the staff for all their hard work. Next up, we have a presentation, final phase of the arches from Jackson Street to Grant Street from the Fund for Cape May. And with us today, we have Curtis Bashaw, Tom Carroll. If you'd like to join us, and John Becker, thank you so much. John is HPC chairperson. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Good
Take
to
it
be
away.
here. Well, good afternoon, everybody. So I'll be presenting on behalf of the Fund for Cape May, this next and final version called Phase 2 of the Arches, which proposes adding 8 arches to the west of the current ones, none to the east at all.
Gentlemen, if you could just bring those mics a little closer.
A little better?
Thank you.
Okay. So you may recall that this is the same team that presented to you folks 4 years ago when we presented the Phase 1 arches. And so this is just an image just to give us a little context of when they were in place in 1910. This is at about Reading Avenue on the promenade. A little closer to Peter Shields and what was, of course, the Admiral Hotel. This arch is located almost exactly where the next arch west of the current 6 arches would be located, right at Jackson Street. And you notice that they are of 2 different sizes. They varied at that time based upon the width of the promenade. They were then all destroyed somewhere in the late 20s, early 30s due to a very major storm, but those were all just simply wooden structures. They didn't have the reinforced steel frame that is in the current arches that was designed to withstand hurricane winds. Prior to Phase 1, this is just an image looking east and west of the phase one location of the arches prior to their installation, most notably the proliferation of the utility poles that were then buried to provide us with a non-utility poled area of the promenade because all the electrical service is buried in a conduit beneath the promenade. And of course, highly decorated several times a year. So the existing 6 arches, this just shows their location where they are, and they're spaced at 150 feet apart. In the next phase, what is being proposed is adding 8 more directly to the west of those 6, but spaced slightly wider apart. So the 8 new arches will thereby be installed from Jackson to Grant. And we have 2 different sizes that have been designed, depending upon, of course, what the width of the promenade will be there now. If it stays at its current width, they'll be the narrower ones to the left. If it's expanded to be wider, then they will be the ones to the right. And that concludes my presentation. I'd like to hand it over to these folks with regard to the funding of this. New record, huh?
Well, Tom and I are here on behalf of the fund. This idea germinated after we completed with the city Rotary Park and then Soldiers and Sailors Park. 2 great projects, and this was a project to try to revive that look from the past and work with the city as they improved the promenade throughout the city. So after feedback initially, we did this original, the fund raised money for an extension of this. There was a lot of discussion in town about where they should or should not be, and I think we were here a few years back proposing this sort of phase. I know the city's been engaged in applying for or contemplating applying for or have already applied for a widening of the promenade to the west, which we think is a great idea. And, you know, the proposal is to build 8 more, hopefully wider ones if the DEP approves the widening, but happy with the narrower ones if they don't. We have the funding for this in a money market account from the fundraiser we did several years ago. We are looking for clarity so we can let our donors know that this is happening, which is why even though we don't know the outcome of the DEP widening, we'd love to know that council supports it in either direction.
After that public hearing, we grouped up and really said, you know, we should not be heading further to the northeast. There was almost no support and even threats of legal action if, in fact, that we were going to continue to that open sky that they like so much, which I can see why. There was a little bit of reaction to going further south to where the Cove is because it gets a little less right out of the center of town there. So we've really narrowed it down to an area that there seemed to be a uniform agreement that let's have that, so that'll kind of finish off the whole center of the town.
That's great. I think what I would remind people too is, because I remember this from our last meeting, was basically, I think you had most of the business owners in that area, which is this area that we're talking about is not residential. We're talking about the businesses on the beachfront that were near unanimous in support of the project, if not unanimous. So that's great. Council, any questions?
I just, Mr. Dietrich, where are we at with the DEP application?
So the first DEP application approved the arches from a CAFR standpoint, so that they've been approved, and we could move forward from that standpoint. We're still, our consultant that's working on the widening part has been very delayed in submitting the permit application. For a large part, he was trying to make sure to complete the seawall extension project, but now that that's done, I've been trying to push him, but he's been not as responsive as I'd like him to be. So he said it was going to be submitted last week, but I haven't seen him yet. So, and that would be for the widening of this section of the promenade, to widen it to similar how we widen it for the arches in that previous section, looking to do a similar widening in that area.
Once the,
Sorry, go ahead, please.
once the application is submitted, in your experience, what would be the time frame to receive a response? I know it's.
I mean,
sometimes-
we would have some comments within 60 days, but usually, bless you, it usually will take about 90 days.
Okay, so
once-
we might know by the first of the year
Yes.
where we were. Okay.
As far as the widening, yes.
Okay. And then obviously would do that in advance of doing the additional arches if we move
Correct.
forward.
Correct.
Okay. And how long would you anticipate that project would be for that area, for that space from Jackson?
Oh, for
For the
well,
wide-
what I would say is, once we would know if we got the permit for the widening, I think we could start prepping for the wider arches. And even if it was, a delay in time framing, the arches would not impact, like if the arches were there before the final widening, that would not be an
Okay.
ultimate
Well,
issue.
That's interesting to know. Okay. Thank you.
Just for the public's edification, in regards to the widening of this area, it would be matching the project that's occurring, that should be occurring sometime this winter.
This winter, yes.
Yeah, for the extension of the promenade. So it would be something, I don't know if the application's 8 feet wider.
I haven't seen the final renderings of what the width is, but yes, it'd be closer to 18 feet wide.
But I think what was done well with the extension is that we didn't necessarily raise the height where it blocked people's views. There's a bench on the beach side. Yes, it's facing the wrong way for most people. It's facing the promenade there. But that bench has a very clear roll of about 32 inches high, and it acts as a to accept wave action. So essentially what it does is it raises the height of the promenade by 32 inches without raising the entire promenade, and then thus creating a wall along where people park and things like that. So it does the job in regards to protection from hurricanes and things like that. So we would effectively be raising that area by 32 inches without raising the entire promenade and blocking people's views, et cetera, et cetera. So not only does it have a role in recreation, which if anyone walks the promenade, especially in this area, it is one of the tightest portions of the promenade. If you go on there around 9:30 when bicycles are supposed to be getting off soon, there's a lot of traffic going in both directions. And, we're pretty lucky that we haven't had a lot of issues. But to be able to do both, yes, increase our safety and of our pedestrians and bicyclists, and also have hurricane protection, would be a major asset to this area.
I would just add that, the fact that this is only going into sort of the commercial area of the promenade, I like that. I think you admit that having heard some of the public feedback from before, this seems to be a more amenable plan. And that certainly knowing about the widening project, would certainly be more acceptable to move it forward. And so, from that perspective, I'm happy to see that this is, where you would be doing this next and final phase. So,
Yeah, I would add that, now that we've had a few years to live with the arches that we have, my observation, the feedback that I've gotten is that they have enhanced the promenade and the experience for folks that are up in that area. The photographs that you have show a real stark difference between that area. So it looks like there's, a real opportunity here. I do agree that, and I appreciate the thought process behind limiting it to the area that's being considered. I think it really shows a thoughtful approach to the entire process.
Just, Mayor, just a couple quick comments. The project, the original project, there's always going to be pushback. And then you see all of the pictures online. You see everybody is, referencing these arches, these beautiful arches. That was once historic in the city of Cape May, and has now, I mean, it's synonymous with Cape May at this point. And then the one telling picture that you had up there was the wires, and that was just it really is something that you really have to appreciate it. Like, what did we have before and what do we have now? That pollution was, I mean, it's just night and day with that pollution. And we're looking at, in our most historic area, in the most traveled area, if we can widen that, make it better ADA accessible, because we have the ramps that actually come into that area of the promenade, of the boardwalk, that actually make it smaller in certain areas. So I just think that that this project is one that will actually enhance, if we can get the DEP, it will enhance this area tremendously, and create that kind of that rhythm, as we have currently, and then continuing that rhythm down towards the cove.
If you look at the right-hand picture, that's looking east.
Yeah.
And those poles continue down to about Grant Street, and that opportunity exists there as well. So I think it's a really nice benefit of the Arch project to also be able to tackle some of those poles.
Declutter.
Declutter.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I think this has been a very successful project, and I don't understand a lot of the pushback myself, because I think they're beautiful as well. I'm so glad Councilmember Baldwin brought up the wires again, because year after year I would see kites in those wires, and I don't know who would fly a kite next to the wires, but I just think it's such a cleaner look. I think people just enjoy walking underneath those arches, and I think when you see those arches in front of Congress Hall, it's going to tie the whole area together really nicely, and I think it's going to be a great view from Congress Hall as well. I'm just excited that this project is going forward, and you have my support.
That's great. Are you okay if we open this up for public comment? Okay. I'll open it up for public comment on the arches only. We're going to have public comment on resolutions afterward. Is anyone here wishing to speak on the arches? Yes, sir. If you would, just please state your name and address for the Please state your name and address for the record, if you would, please.
My name is George Lesser. The address is 207 Congress Place.
Thank you.
Mr. Bashaw may remember we own a house right behind the Congress Hall lawn. It's the one to the left of the clock here. Very briefly, I think the arches are fine. My understanding is you're planning on redoing much of the promenade as well. And all I would like to suggest is the black asphalt does not work. It's not Victorian, it's not traditional, it's not attractive. I would suggest brick or maybe slate. I'm sure people who know more about hardscape than I do could come up with better ideas, but I really think the asphalt promenade is a self-inflicted wound following the 62 storm, and I think it's time for Cape May to do something better.
So have you seen it painted over? They put down a sealer?
I've seen it in front of the Congress Hall and thereabouts, which is
Because originally it was just blacktop.
it's blacktop.
Now it's been painted with a sealer. It's not perfect. I agree with you, but just for anyone who would like to know, I think concrete was something like 6 times the cost as asphalt, which the cost is extremely expensive.
It's not attractive. It's not Victorian. It's not.
I agree with you. We're gonna have Curtis have a fundraiser for the brick.
Whatever.
No, I appreciate it. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enough
Thank
said.
you. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yes, Roz Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. I feel very small in this room right now. And I always think, should I get up and say what I think? But I can't look myself in the mirror at night if I don't. So my question is simple. Why more arches? You did give some reasons as far as her.
Roz, I'm so sorry. We
things like
can't hear
that.
you at all. You can
I'm
move that
sorry.
closer, please. You can pick it up.
Is that better?
You can physically pick it up and slide it. You're
Oh,
good.
pick it up.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can't hear
Is
you.
that better?
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you hear what I said originally?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yep.
I heard it. I'm not sure if anybody else did.
Okay, good. Okay. So these are my thoughts. When doing a large project on my home, it's usually clear why I'm doing it. It's usually for a functional necessity that has to do with a safety issue or repair, or pure aesthetics. Using these points as criteria, building more arches, to me, has no clear functional purposes. You did mention a few. You might say to denote and highlight Cape May's Victorian times, we have arches to do that already. Or making the city safer, I don't see that. And certainly not aesthetics. What's more beautiful than on the promenade that you see the dunes, the sand, and a vast ocean and an endless sky? As a 20-year resident of Cape May, I remember walking from a parallel street to the ocean. I think all of us have experienced this. You'd walk down the street, and in the distance, through a porthole, you'd see an open sky. And as you got clearer, you became excited to think your day with nature at the beach was about to begin. Now, when taking that same walk, my once open sky excitement is cluttered and obstructed. I can't imagine extending this. Again, I say why. One other example has to do with my early summer visits from my sons and my grandsons that come to visit Nana. In anticipation, I gladly purchased beach tags for the family. This year, they used their Cape May City beach tags once. They expressed that Cape May City beaches had become too commercial and touristy with the arches and such. So their choice was to spend our beach days at Cape May Point, where the setting is more natural. I found this quite sad. Cape May is an area of 3 square miles, and if you ask AI how long is the distance of the arches from where they are now to Grant Street, it is 0.4 square miles. So again, my question is, why are we allowing this expansion to happen? It's a clear visual change to a landscape that was once treasured. I'm happy I said this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Roz. Anyone else?
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. I'd rather change the direction and know a little more about the details. Who will be responsible for designing the project and paying for the design?
I think that would be a combination of the engineer for the widening, if that were to occur, and perhaps the architect. That makes sense?
Yeah, I believe last time the Fund for Cape May prepared and had the designs done for the project. But it'll be in coordination with the widening, yes, of course.
And who will be responsible for the construction?
They would be, the Fund for Cape May would be.
And what is the estimated cost of the project?
It's a couple $100,000.
I'm sorry, Kurt?
A couple $100,000.
And that's going to be paid for by the
By the fund, yes.
And is there a requirement that that fund be fully funded before the construction starts?
We would probably require that as part of it. I don't know if put that in the resolution for the original arches. I'm not sure, but I can tell you, obviously, we did this before and had no issue with that, but
I think by the time we memorialized the agreement for the prior Arches project, it was ready to go. Like the funding was there, the project was ready to proceed, and that's why we
but
proceeded.
funding would be, we would need funding to be available.
And I assume there'd be cross insurances, there's obvious business requirements.
Yes.
We've worked with the city on 3 projects.
Yep.
Arches Phase 1, Soldiers and Sailors Park, and Rotary Park. And all those things were handled with the paperwork. And the funding is in the bank. We already have it. We raised it 3 years ago. So it's really, we're here to get clarity so that we can tell our donors it's happening. And, but the money's in the bank.
My concern is, what is the taxpayer's obligation? And that's the direction I've
Yep.
raised the questions. The project will take approximately how long to build or complete? And when do you think that might start?
Well, I can speak. The arches took about 6 months to build the last time. And we wouldn't start until we got a green light from the city that either we're able to do it, which width we're going for, and whether we're starting after the widening or before with the right foundations.
I guess the question is, it would be great to be able to fit it in so it wouldn't interfere with the vacation period.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roush. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Go ahead, Tom.
I just would like to add a history note. Quite a few years ago, when there was talk about redoing Rotary Park, Curtis pulled a lot of city leaders together and said, the city will get a lot of criticism if taxpayers feel this is going to be a major burden for them. So we decided that the people that really feel strong about this would want to give money to make it possible. And we took safety in consideration, but we also added to that beautification, which I think is one of the most important things for the long term of the city. And we raised all the money, had a good time doing it, having parties. And as Curtis said, the enthusiasm's still there. And I'm sure once we finish this, we'll probably be looking around to help the city in some other way.
Okay. It's always been a good partnership. Yep. No, it's been excellent. I mean, the War Memorial and Rotary Park, and it's really been lovely. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your
Thank you for your
quick
time.
presentation. We appreciate it. And
Happy August.
Yep. Happy August. Yep. With that, we will open up public comment for resolutions this evening. Is anyone here wishing to speak on any of the resolutions for this afternoon?
We do.
Yeah.
Ma'am, did you want to?
Can we, you know what? Linda, do you mind if I wait one moment? Look, anyone else wishing to speak on resolutions? Go ahead, Mr. Roush.
So slow.
Am I right?
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. I'd like to clarify a couple of items, Paul, or Mr. Dietrich. 303, can you elaborate on that, the use of that $25,000?
Yeah, that's a grant that we applied for, and that's to do tree maintenance within the city. So it's a DEP grant to help us pay for tree trimming and pruning maintenance along street trees in the city.
And just to add to that, Councilman Meyer was going to include that in his report, so I'll defer to you.
This is $25,000. This is a grant that's for maintenance and tree removal of hazardous trees, but meeting with the DEP, we're going to come up with a identification plan so that we have all the trees identified in the city and that they're located. And the goal of the Shade Tree Commission is to have this is part of the GIS map.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so this is going to be, we'll know where every tree was before it disappears.
Wow.
And this is the match Match funds will be in kind by the city employees and the Shade Tree members. Would you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so the grant requires a 25% match. You can do it through multiple different avenues, but meeting with the DEP, our way that will be contributed is our employees who are already assigned to Public Works, along with management, in conjunction with the Shade Tree Commission members, our time will be counted towards that in-kind contribution. So it's $25,000 from the DEP, and our contribution to it is our time basically from the city aspect.
Good. Looking at 304, Resolution 3040826. Mr. Deacon, can you give us an idea of what the height of this proposed wall and what the length of it is going to be?
There is no wall. This is for a traffic safety improvements along that.
The intersection.
The intersections of those.
The
This,
bicycle.
this is for bicycle and pedestrian safety improvements.
Okay, this is not.
This has nothing to do with, this has
wall at
nothing.
all.
That wall's already been approved for design under a previous professional service agreement.
And to what extent will the bridge be affected, or is that not part of
None.
this?
It's really starting, I'll say, on our side of the bridge and really at the intersection of Elmira and Venice, and how do we move bikes and pedestrians the most safe way from, essentially the bridge to Beach Avenue along that corridor.
Do you envision widening Elmira?
Well,
I don't anticipate, the route is going down Venice to Bank, down Decatur to Beach.
Mr.
So,
Dietrich.
so it's really not looking at Elmira in that section between Venice and Lafayette.
Okay.
Mr. Dietrich, isn't part of the, and this is a question, isn't part of this resolution to hire this person to ask that question?
They have to do that design. I mean, but I think we're not looking at from Venice to Lafayette on Elmira. That's not part of the corridor or the study. We're looking at going from Elmira down Venice and down Bank. So that's the corridor. And they'll evaluate all of the road conditions and make whatever recommendations and designs that would make it a safe corridor.
Yeah, it's designed, this proposal is designed to help develop a continuous route that would traverse those roads to connect and then reach to Decatur and then provide a complete route going down to the beach. Doesn't have anything to do with the wall. And this is about development design. This is not about construction regarding this particular project.
Who are on bikes is really the purpose and intent of it, is because right now, if you are riding your bike from West Cape May into Cape May, you get there and Elmira is a very narrow street. So what it is specifically, hopefully, was getting people off of there and going down Bank. Is that pretty much it?
Yes.
Yeah. So trying to get people to understand that may not be the best way to go, but there's an alternative, which is just to take you, a half a block out of your way and get you to Decatur.
But this project will develop a construction plan that will be presented to council to fund for construction. So they'll design the concept and the construction plans necessary to implement.
I know years ago there was a discussion about a parking lot at the corner of Park and Myrtle.
We're not talking about parking. This is talking about bike and pedestrian routing.
If I may ask about 305, that $15,000 for Taylor Engineering, are we replacing Stockton in the evaluation or the study?
Stockton is continuing to do their beach surveys, so this is not doing beach surveys. This is coordinating meetings with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Coastal Engineering in what aspects to create a new design template for our beach profile.
Thank you. And 306, this $2,490,000, that's a grant application to the county.
Correct.
Is that to reimburse the city for what they have spent, or is this new money?
New
for
money,
new
new money,
work?
new money for the last phase of that for the park.
So this is all being applied for the new work based on the plan that was attached to
Yes.
the PFF.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jules. Anyone else on the resolutions this afternoon? No, we'll close public comment on resolutions and go to the regular agenda. Resolution 300-08-2026. Yeah. I'm gonna read it. Is that good? Okay. Okay, this is a resolution rededicating the name of the Wise Anderson Park, and I'm going to read a portion of that. Whereas the city of Cape May is in the process of executing various improvements to the park area located along Lafayette Street, and whereas said park area has in recent years and throughout the improvement project been commonly referred to as Lafayette Street Park. And whereas the park area was originally named the Wise Anderson Recreational Complex, as seen on existing signage at the park, and whereas Cape May City Council wishes to reestablish the original name of the park, now to be officially named the Wise Anderson Park, in honor of the Wise and Anderson families, who are longstanding Cape May community members. And whereas Charles Wise managed the Little League program and taught tennis to the youth of Cape May City, whereas Clifton Doc Anderson Sr. was an outstanding athlete throughout high school and went on to play football in the NFL. He later became a professor and coach at Prince Anne College, the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. I'm going to add one more whereas. Whereas Kyle Anderson Jr. currently plays in the NBA for the Toronto Raptors. Now, therefore, I am resolved by the City Council of the City of Cape May County, the state of New Jersey, the park area located along Lafayette Street is officially named the Wise Anderson Park. Thank And I want to also thank Councilman Meyer for helping push this process along. Obviously, the park project itself has taken some time to unscramble that spaghetti mess that we've had in regards to DEP. Well, we won't go through all the acronyms that we've talked about for over a decade now. But yeah, LSRP and DEP, EPA. But with us is Linda Anderson and
Shirley Wise. Shirley Wise, yes.
Shirley.
yes.
Great to see you. Thank you so much. for
Thank
being
you, everyone, especially the Cape May City Council and, our mayor and all who love Cape May. And yes, this was a very, very long process. We want to specifically look backwards as we started it about 6 years ago with a whole different administration. And somewhere in that time, Lafayette Park came up. We're still trying to think about how it came up. We were very quiet and patient through that and waited through those years. And when the administration changed, we did get a little more verbal and said, why would we change it from the Wise Anderson Park? We were very thankful to have Councilman Shane to meet with us, Meyer, a couple of times, and we talked about some plans for the park. That's been some conversations back and forth. What we remember and what we wanted to hold dearly to is, of course, the African-American community that so contributed to who Cape May is today. And not to forget that ever, so that they always understand that, yes, they are Victorian, but much on the backs and the many families that worked in those houses and stood with those families that make it become the Victorian place that we all like to visit today. And it is a place of nostalgia. I shared with Councilman Meyer. I think he listened to many of our stories, so thank you, Councilman. As we reminisced about our town, that sometimes we look at very sadly. And that's very hard to understand, that as we walk down Elmira, we often have tears of the families that we knew that once lived in Cape May. It will never go away, but certainly to have the Wise Anderson Park be the first park that greets you, as it did when we were children and watching the youngsters playing basketball and on the playground, is very, very, to us, a sign that what we gave to Cape May mattered then and still matters today. And so we thank you, not just the City Council, but all the residents of Cape May that stand by many of our homes and our churches, what was the African American community that is a part of Cape May's rich heritage. So we thank you.
Shirley, Linda, thank you so much for coming, and we greatly appreciate you. This is frankly just the start. We're naming it now. And what was important to a lot of us, including Mr. Meyer, was making sure that as we submit these plans to the county for some of the open space grant funding that we just discussed, that it have the right name on those documents, and that as we progress with this, again, we thank you for your patience, and we thank the whole community for their patience, because, you know, a community park like this is so important to so many people. And so I can't wait to hear the sound of the basketballs again at the Wise Anderson Park. And we're all so excited for that. So thank you so much for being here, and we really do appreciate you. Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a comment before
Please.
we make that motion. I just think it's, like Linda said, it's bigger than the names associated to the park. It's associated to the families, the neighborhoods, the families, the parents that took care of the kids, you know, and the businesses, the African American businesses. This is not just a park. This is another stop on the African American Heritage Trail, and there needs to be some signage about it to educate the people about the park and its significance to the community and its history.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you.
You for coming.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Do I-
second.
We have a second. Any questions or comments, council?
Thank you, council.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
See ya.
Thank you.
On to consent agenda.
Yes. Council, is there anything to remove from the consent agenda this evening?
Council, anything? No? Okay.
We have a motion.
Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Let's all say it together, right?
I'll pick.
We all second.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right, on to new business.
New business, city solicitor,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
city manager, any new business?
Nothing, thank you.
City clerk?
Yes, just so the public is aware, the deadline for filing election petitions to myself is this Thursday, August 20th, by no later than 4 p.m. And that's it, Council.
Thank you. City council members, Councilwoman Baldwin,
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Bodnar,
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor,
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Councilman Meyer?
I just want to thank the deputy city manager for his spearheading with that grant, $25,000. It's a lot of money, and we wouldn't be able to do that kind of project if out of our budget, you know, so that's a big help. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to comment and say thank you to all the workers in Cape May right now. I think when you go to any of the businesses and look at some of the locals in the eyes, they're kind of like still trying to keep them open because it's been a very busy season. And so I thank the police officers that were here this afternoon as well, that all the work that they put in to accreditation, but we also see all the work that's going on a daily basis in our town. DPW, we mentioned trash and recycling pickup. They've done an excellent job, but I know how, you know, it's been a very busy season. People have been working very hard. So we appreciate their work. And again, I want to mention the lifeguards as well, as our city manager already did, not only doing an excellent job keeping us safe, but also doing very well in the lifeguard championships, which is fun to watch. So very cool. And to our firefighters, I'll tell you, just the other day, unfortunately, I witnessed someone fall on their bicycle. They were okay, but I did call 911, and I will tell you, literally within less than 2 minutes, there was an ambulance there. It was very impressive. And so kudos to all of their hard work, and to know that we live in a town that they have response rates that truly are second to none. So thank you. With that, I'll open it up to any and all public comment on any and all topics.
Roz Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street, a double dose of Roz today. I'd like to address the council on the subject of privately funded projects and how they relate to Cape May. First, I want to acknowledge the positive aspect of privately funded projects. I know they work hand in hand with the city to make needed improvements. My thoughts specifically have to do with what needs to be included in an initial presentation of a privately funded project, and the process in which a privately funded project is decided on. My first point of what should be in a presentation has to do with full disclosure of how much money the taxpayers will be responsible for in the initial setup of the said project, and then a studied, detailed, enumerated list of what needed maintenance the city will be responsible for in the future. I think quite a few questions were asked the Fund of Cape May, and they did not have answers at that time. I believe each line of the taxpayer's responsibility needs to have a dollar sign next to it. To say a project is totally funded by a private group is an illusion. Taxpayers pay the salaries of public workers. Secondly, how does a privately funded project get a final approval? As it stands, City Council gives the thumbs up or thumbs down. But how does the council really know how its residents think? Yes, you say you can come and express your thoughts at the meetings, but we all know many times people do not show up for various reasons. Time, they're working, not reading a Friday posted agenda, and hesitant to speak out. And then there's writing letters. How do we know what the letters are that you are receiving? My answer is this, that if a privately funded project includes 3 criteria, it needs to be voted on a ballot in a November election. The 3 criteria being and this is and/or, any project above a certain amount of money, let's say $500,000. I'm not good at that. Number 2, any project and/or any project that requires taxpayer money for initial setup or future maintenance. And number 3, any project that is going to be a major visual change in the city's landscape. My question is, when did the people in a small community lose the right to determine what surrounds us? Our right should not be defined with a dollar sign. This may sound like a pie in the sky idea, but everything starts with a first step. That's what I believe. So, Chris, where do I start with my ideas? I guess, do I need to write an ordinance, or where does something like this start?
Exactly what you're doing, which is presenting them as a concept to council.
And then what?
Well, it's up to them whether they want to implement that type of architecture to that, as opposed to, I think, what they've been doing, which is making sure that these projects are fully vetted in a public forum. You know, I'll just share with you from my perspective, Roz. You know, the Jacob Jones is a perfect example of that. Completely run through the mill of having multiple public meetings and having people from various parts of the community coming out and essentially throwing tomatoes at an idea until it's been revised in such a way that its last presentation was sort of largely welcomed with open arms because they had revised it to the point that it reflected the values of the community. You know, probably not everybody, but to a large extent had been run through the meat grinder until it came out to something that looked appetizing to the community. And I think that's largely been the approach taken by council. There's been a lot of big effort to make sure that these things are presented in a public way. And someone like yourself fully has the opportunity to come and present questions and make observations, and council can hear that and make sure it's built into the ultimate decision that they end up making.
Okay.
So, you know,
I'm looking for specifics. I think we've seen how privately funded things throughout many towns throughout our country isn't put to the test of certain criteria. In other words, like I said, you know, is the project, you know, first we have to know how much the taxpayers are spending on it. In other words, when someone presents something, they need, in my opinion, if this was something that would end up happening, they need to have those figures before coming.
So Roz, and I think one of the things is I don't think the city's ever saying like an Arches 2 project is going to be zero cost to the taxpayers. I think breaking up the cost in terms they're proposing of undertaking all or substantially all of the construction related to get to the point of arches are installed on the promenade. And then at that point, it potentially becomes city property, in which point we retain the responsibility to make sure the light bulbs are on, the electricity serviced, it's painted, that kind of thing. And that's the template from other past projects that we've done, including the first arches. But, and this goes to your purposes, I think one of the reasons that the arches are even considered is it's not just an aesthetic thing. There's also a functional component, which we didn't really talk about tonight, but it was talked about in the past. There needs to be some sort of lighting on the promenade for safety reasons. There needs to be something up there. Right now we have what some would call ugly, and I'm the attorney, not the aesthetics police, right? But I've heard this said in the past, so I'm repeating it. It's not Cape May. It's not aesthetically pleasing. It looks like it's from an alien movie. Okay, let's get rid of it. Clean up the skyline for folks that want a cleaner skyline. And so there's a function and aesthetic to it, and there's a million ways to argue the aesthetics, and I'm not weighing in on that. But we would be responsible, presumably, for maintaining whatever lighting is up there anyway. So that's why, you know, it's really part of council's decision making. But I think what your initial question was, can we have some specific process where, you know, if it's over a certain dollar amount, there needs to be a referendum or something? Well, that's why we have elections. You elect folks to make these sort of decisions, make sure the public's involved, and then, you know, the public can react to both the project and their elected officials in a way that's provides that instant feedback, just like you're doing right now. You know, and I think that's a good thing. You're up here expressing those concerns, and they can hear them and, you know, react to them in real time. So you have the process right here. It's the most direct thing. Come up to a microphone and say, hey, I have a concern, I have a question. The people were here, you could ask them the questions. That's really, I think the council wants to make sure that opportunity is always provided, from my standpoint.
My concern is that, you know, a project can, taxpayers, the residents will respond to how much something is going to cost them. So if a presentation is made and there's no dollar sign put to how much the city is going to pay for maintenance, they'll say, well, yeah, it's okay. You know, everything's fine. but it's all hindsight. And I'm saying this again. I'm saying this for the future. I'm saying this so I don't want to say so things don't get out of hand, but you know, I think privately funded projects need to be held more accountable before they go forward. And the only reason that I mention a ballot box is that's the only thing. I certainly I trust you gentlemen and women, but then I could see, you know, how people really think about these things, because these arches are a huge visual change to what Cape May looks like.
Mayor, it has been 5 minutes.
Roz, just really quick, can I just jump in? Because listen, I appreciate your passion, and I know you love Cape May just as much as anybody here.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I do. But let me give you just real life examples of our partnerships that
Sure.
we have with people who fund different organizations. And I wrote them down here. The tennis club, you know, that's a wonderful partnership. The Nature Center, that's been a wonderful partnership. Cape May Stage, Eastland Theater, Rutgers Research, MAC at the Physic Estate. All of those are privately funded in many ways, but have been excellent partners to the city and give some of the best features of the city that we don't have to pay for.
I couldn't agree with you more on those
And I would
points.
add even some of the projects, Rotary Park, Jacob Jones, which hasn't started yet, but I love the process that they went through with the community, and Soldiers and Sailors War Memorial Park. I think all of those are real life excellent examples where it wasn't perfect and not loved by all. I know that. But, you know, sometimes art is, you know, people have a different idea of what's beautiful
Certainly.
and what's not. But I do think in the idea of transparency, certainly this board wants to be as transparent as possible. And I know so does Fund for Cape May. So I know that not everyone's going to love it, right?
Uh-huh.
Because to some degree, it is a bit of art. And that, again, has, you know, many detractors, right?
Mhm.
But I think if you look at the real life examples of the folks that we've worked with, they've done a good job.
Mhm.
I would just like to add one. I'm sorry, I'd like to add one thing. Many of the things that you know, are suggesting, you have to understand, at least from my perspective, and I won't speak for the rest of council, but I think we would probably all agree. We talk about these things. We talk about, and we make sure that when we're looking at a project like this, that we understand that it's going to be vetted by the public. We make sure that when Mr. Gillen Schwartz puts an agreement together, we kind of beat it up in a number of different ways. I do think that what we do at this table and what we do in discussing all of the projects that the mayor has outlined and other things that come before us, we take very seriously. And we do look at it from the perspective of the residents, the taxpayers, the businesses, the visitors. Does that come across all the time? Maybe not. But I can assure you, from my personal perspective, that's what I'm doing. And I think that I would say that for the rest of the colleagues at this table. So part of it is, Roz, we're elected into this position to be making these kinds of decisions on the part of the community. I think that we are all very transparent in our, you know, decision-making and making sure that access to this type of presentation is done. And we hear from people when, you know, they're not happy about it, and we welcome their input. And, you know, there are not times that everything crosses the finish line the first time.
Mhm.
And so, you know, from my perspective, I think to recognize that a lot of what you're asking for and how these things get accomplished, and finally when the decision is made, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes.
So all the things that you mentioned the tourists and the visitors, and lastly, you mentioned the residents. In my opinion, the residents should be first before the tourists and the visitors.
Yeah, they were first in my state.
Okay. And just a question, how does a project start without things being approved?
It has to be approved.
So you're telling me that no materials have been bought?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing. And frankly, if they were to do that, so that would be at their own risk of not being approved.
Okay.
So no project can start without our approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And we share that concern. Believe me, we
Yeah.
do. We do.
Yeah.
Thank
And, you know, just from living, a life, I do understand that you don't always see the hard work, Maureen, that is put behind something. But in my mind, there always needs to be a watchdog. And
I agree.
I guess,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
And if I could add to it just quickly, that I believe a lot of the projects have vastly improved because of public comment and public participation. I think, frankly, every project that we've had has gotten better because there's a lot of smart people that live in Cape May and have given really good advice. And I think, frankly, the Jacob Jones is another perfect example of that, of a project that probably could use a little bit more of the Cape May touch. It got the Cape May touch, and I think now is going to be a much better project because of the public.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Roz. Anyone else on any and all issues? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody.
Time is 4:20.
Yeah, I'll give you a call. Okay.